2 months, I'm going to build all this stuff and then just fire everybody because someone else is coming down the road that's going to do that. If you own a marketing agency right now and you are not using AI in every single aspect of your business all day long and spending half your time figuring out what tools are coming out, you are doing it wrong. But some kid who's like 30, 25, 30 is going to do it, and they're going to do it right to you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're listening to OwnerRx with Pentz, the podcast for business owners who want to scale without sacrifice. Each episode delivers battle-tested strategies from the OwnerRx Playbook Library, showing you exactly how to build systems that run without you. Here's your host, Pentz.
All right, we are back on the OwnerRx podcast with the lovely Tonya Berenson. It's been a little while, Tonya. How are you?
I know it has been a while since like midsummer, I think. Yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm
You're
glad to be
back in
back
San Cugat,
in
Spain, España.
lovely San Cugat. Back. Spent the summer in Maine, which was great. Now I'm back
Awesome.
here on the other side. How are
Wow.
you
So
doing?
like during the summer, you're like a townie, but then you live in like this beautiful town outside of Barcelona.
Totally.
So
Yeah. No, in the summer I'm like in the woods next to the lake.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
I don't like
totally.
need to brush
Awesome.
my teeth or anything.
All right, enough nonsense. What are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to talk about AI, aren't we? Companies
Yeah.
not adapting to it and why. I mean, why? I mean, AI
Yeah,
is,
it's the thing, right? So I think
it's the
people are
thing.
tired of hearing about AI is
Yeah.
coming, right?
Yep. Of course.
But it is coming, and you
Newsflash.
know, newsflash. Yeah, my sense is working with clients and just seeing what's happening, that people aren't adopting it appropriately, and there, I think one of the main things happening is that people, well, one, they just don't know the technology well, and the current solutions being given to them aren't very good, like the ones that are easy to use.
Hmm.
Um, but what I'm starting to see is what we've been doing internally at OwnerRx. We've been building agents to work on our content and our corporate projects. And as a result, like we don't need to hire people for most things anymore. Like writing, anything that's writing, analysis, all that out the window, right? So
People
then
don't
I go
believe
into,
that though.
yeah, I
Like
mean, I can
it
show them
doesn't
what's
sound. I mean,
happening.
I've seen you work it, and I still am amazed.
Yeah. So we literally yesterday or over the weekend, I put Google has this agent development kit, which gives you sort of like pre-built agent infrastructure that you can use.
Hmm.
I have no idea how it works, right? So
Right.
I installed it in our GitHub repo and then told Claude Code to um, have our agent system use it. I asked it why it was valuable, and basically it was saying like when you have multiple agents working together, the ADK that Google has created helps them like pass information and coordinate their activity better, and cuts down the number of times that needs to go to the LLM to get process information. So it cuts your costs, like they were saying some tests 60% from your
Wow.
LLM cost. So anyway, I mean I've no, and the other thing it's helped is coordination. So now like when I um, do a client session, it I have an agent that I just say, hey, run the agent on this transcript, and it reads the transcript, summarizes it, takes all the action items. So like your Fathom or Otter does that too, right? But then it
Hmm.
writes a follow-up email to the client summarizing the session. Then it creates the agenda for the next session. Then it another component of it does a longitudinal analysis across all the coaching sessions and looks for blind spots, accountability that's been dropped, and strategic opportunities that we're not thinking of, and produces that. Then another agent comes in and anonymizes the entire transcript and changes like key facts so it's not identifiable, and then looks for insights from my coaching. And it takes those insights and transfer them over to the content repo where it's included in playbooks that I am going to have on the OwnerRx tool. And that all happens like that.
It's like
And it
one-stop
makes these
shopping. It's like
learnables.
all right there.
It's insane. It also writes, oh, yeah. And then it also passes it off to the newsletter agent, the LinkedIn agent. And every time I read something about, like, oh, here's what, like the other day, I read something about here's what the tropes that AI uses that you can, the tells and its writing, does all
Hmm.
these kind of things. So then I just put that article in and say, hey, agent, avoid all this stuff. And it does. So now it doesn't write like an AI anymore. And every time I read something, I can upgrade the agent right there. And then actually, when we, look at what LinkedIn posts performed well, I just feed back the data back to the agent and say, what can we learn from this? And how should we change you to get
It's
better? Like, yeah. And I don't need any people to do any of that.
and it's
So
not hard to do that. So, I mean, this may be a silly question, but at this point, like most of your listeners, like people listening to this podcast, they know what an agent is and what it can do in this context, right? Like I'll
maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. An
like
agent
how
is literally
easy.
just like, let me tell you how I build an agent. I use this Claude code thing. You install it on your terminal. No one knows how to do that. So go ask ChatGPT how to do it, and it will tell you.
It's
And
not that hard,
then
actually.
not that hard. I mean,
A little
there's
help,
baby
I was
steps.
able to do it
Yeah, Tanya has done it. Tanya can do it
with
easily,
help, with a
right?
little help, but yeah, I have done it, people. So
Yeah,
if that isn't inspiring enough,
yeah, exactly. So, and then I just think about like anything that I do repetitively. Like I coach people, so I always process the coaching session. So why don't I
hmm
just tell it to create an agent? I just say, hey, create an agent that processes the session and does these things. And then you look at the output, it'll create it, and basically all it does is write like a file that has like a markdown file, which is sort of like a
hmm
Word file with different, just like a different like more generic, universal set of formatting. So it's good and it's organized so that computers can read it better, but you could read it and understand what it says, just a
hmm
Word doc. So it just says, hey, this agent does this. And then when Claude Code comes in and uses it, it gives instructions to Claude Code in a standard way to go do a certain set of activities. That's all it's doing. And you could literally write it out yourself and tell Claude Code to go look at it, but I don't know why you do that. And
hmm
so what you do is you build the agent, you say, hey, process these transcripts. And then it comes back and you look at it and you're like, I don't love this. And then you tell the agent to change that. All right, the way you're doing this doesn't work. Or like, I need the email to be more concise or longer, or I need this. And you just tell it what you need. And then what I've done, which I thought was a really brilliant idea, was creating antagonist agents. So they're agents that check the work of agents. And so you'd be like, hey, I want you to be an antagonist agent to make sure this agent is accurate, doesn't make up stuff, does this, I have a user advocacy agent too that represents small business owners.
hmm
And then that's what I read about that in my thing,
That's crazy.
getting getting my
User-
agents to fight. But it's good because like in this stuff, like having something one evaluating the work of another agent, but they're in separate context windows is
mhm.
really, because you can have like a step in the agent where it checks its work, but it's going to use all the context from before in the check. And so anything it assumed way in the beginning that's wrong, it will still get wrong. But if you have a separate agent that doesn't have that context window, it's just seeing the output, it can detect that error. So that's the advantage of having them be separate. Like you have like sometimes I'll call those sub agents, like little components that are running at the same time. Um, so anyway, this is super powerful. Now, I don't expect most people to figure out how to do this, even though it's really easy. You could join my AI cohort where I'm training people how to do this, but people just don't, right? And like I don't expect them to, but but that power is coming to everybody soon in a much easier
Mhm.
format, right? where you don't have to use a terminal, you don't have to install Claude code, you don't have to know about Antagonist agents. It just does it, right? So
Mhm.
even that's probably a year away, maybe a couple of years. So what I see happening though overall is that's going to wipe out like everyone's current marketing department, essentially.
Right.
And then I see it wiping out most business analysts. There might be one business analyst working the agents, and that's it. I
Mhm.
see it wiping out, like a lot of customer service. I see it wiping out a lot of kind of like CFO and financial analysis kind of positions, but on and on and on, right? And so what I see is like I could give somebody that capability today, but they don't want to fire the people or change the process.
Well,
So
there's the rub, right?
yeah, so I could literally probably go into half my clients and save them $300,000 to $500,000 a year. That would drop immediately to the bottom line, but they just don't want to make the change, and they're not willing to
Mm.
get rid of, Dave, who runs some part of the marketing system or who does the financial close or model every month. So it's just too far a bridge for them without it being having someone come in and literally just doing it for them. And that product is not available yet, that we're able
Mm.
to just do it for you. And so they don't do it. And as a result, what's going to happen? And even after the product's available, I still don't think they're going to want to fire the people.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to fire people. It's really hard. That's the
Yeah,
human
people are
component there.
emotionally messy, right?
Yes,
And
we are complicated.
you as an owner are sitting within a company where almost nobody else has an incentive to fire anyone, right? Because they're not, the bottom
Mm.
line is for you, not for them. And so they get trapped by their own teams. I notice that. And I'm pretty much the only advocate for firing people. And
Darth Vader.
everyone hates it. Everyone wants to lie and say AI is not going to cause job loss. That's bullshit. It's going to cause job loss. Now, in the long term, it won't. In the long term, there'll be more jobs. But let's be real. Like in 1900, it was something like 98% of Americans worked in farming,
Hmm.
2% did other things. That is now the opposite. But what happens in between? The Great Depression, where we had a massive labor market. I mean, part of the depression is obviously a complicated event. It wasn't just about this, but one of the effects of it was, look, all the people on the farms, like grapes of wrath, everybody who left the farms because of the droughts and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Part of that was just like the beginning of industrial agriculture, applying technology to agriculture that made small farmers inefficient. And so those people migrated to cities and eventually became factory workers, right? But that
Hmm.
process was not easy and it wasn't smooth.
Right, and it
And
wasn't
so
so quick.
now unemployment today is really low, right? And we don't have that many people, especially with immigration being curtailed. So I think that we're not going to go through the Great Depression again, would be my call, although I'm no macroeconomist, but that
Mm.
was a different situation, different world. Um,
Different
but
time.
yeah, so I think, we probably wouldn't allow such a severe correction that quickly today, but it'll be a slower, more grinding transition.
Hmm.
And, like, you hear about somebody losing their marketing job at a tech company now. There's no other job coming for that. They're going to have to go find something new to do. And
Mm.
like the older you are, the harder that is. And that's just the
For
reality,
sure.
right? So, you don't know how to use AI tools and use these things. So I see, one is we are going to have this disruption. I think it's probably going to be largely driven by people who figure out that I can go run a marketing agency at a tenth of the cost of other people, and I just go wipe out all the marketing agencies. The marketing agencies themselves are too slow. They're too wedded to Dave or Sally, so they won't get rid of them. and they're not preparing for the next step. And I've seen it over and over. And quite frankly, I've started thinking about AI in this sense. Like, I'm sick of trying to sell it to other people. I'm just going to use it to take them out, right? Like that's what ends up happening is like you're sitting there
Yeah.
like telling people you got to use this. Here's how to use it, and they're still like, I don't know. And so you're like, all right, I'm just going to take your industry. Okay, like, is
Yeah.
that better?
That won't light a fire under your ass. What will?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't. So I've started really thinking about it, like from if you hear certain stories more like anecdotal right now of private equity companies kind of like trying to find the tools to come in and do just that. Because they'll come in and fire Sally and Dave. They don't care. And they're going to drive that, right? But I think there's a huge opportunity for anybody who can build like a tool set that can go in and make companies more efficient. And you could just either buy them and radically alter them and then start just aggregating all of them, or you can just start your own and just outcompete them. I mean, to
Mm.
be honest, I think that's a much better play than trying to sell them AI software. Now, that's bad for somebody who's developing an AI software for business owners, but I do sort of, I'm in that brain space right now where I'm like frustrated with people's inability to see what's right in front of their nose. And like, you've got, I don't know, you don't have much more time before everyone comes for you.
So with your coaching clients, for example, they're like, I just can't do it yet, Alan. I can't do it. I can't get rid of marketing Dave. But
Right.
you're working with these people. You want to help them. They're paying you something, presumably. What do you? Is there like a place to start, like baby steps? Like
Well,
what are you telling people? I
yeah.
know every business is
Yeah.
different, et cetera.
Well, the
But
reality is OwnerRx is kind of being set up to help people do this.
mhm.
And I have, I think it's going to be a really cool tool over time. I mean, obviously, it's going to take a while to get it developed to the right place, but I do think that there's a high chance that they just don't do it.
They just
Because like
don't.
I did that interview with Steve Wilkinson last month. He's an Irish businessman. He's great. Um, and his basic thing was like people still you can give them a tool that can do marketing for them, but you still need somebody to do it for them. So I think um, OwnerRx is going to become a vehicle for owners. It is a vehicle for owners to apply AI, use AI to make their businesses more efficient. But I
Mhm.
also think it's probably going to need some, either through the community we create around it or through some kind of coaching affiliation or coaches on, hired coaches. It's going to need some amount of that to get people to really adopt and use it in the right way. That's
Mhm.
sort of what I'm thinking, but it's an experiment, right? And so I guess my take is there's a bunch of tools that are going to be out there. OwnerX is one of them. There are others right now and others coming. And I want people to take advantage of them and some portion of the people will do that, right?
Well,
I mean,
right.
it's going to be a Pareto principle where right now I'd say what 10 to 20% of small businesses make 80 to 90% of all the profits out there. And the rest of them are just dividing up what's left over. And so that's going to be the same for people who adopt and adapt. The rest of them
Adopt
are
and
going to get wiped
adapt.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm starting to think like the better play potentially is doing the wiping out, not doing the 10 to 20%. I mean, I'm going to do both, but it's been a real eye opener for me. I think I went from last spring being like, hey, why don't I become somebody who tells everybody how they need to adapt and become sort of like the champion of that a little bit, or one of them amongst others, to
Mhm.
now like I just don't see the movement. And I see acknowledgement, that's certainly true, but I
Yeah.
just don't see people like plunging in and doing it. And as a result, somebody else is going to plunge in before Salesforce figures out how to deliver it to you on a silver platter. And I see what's happening with like Notion. and some of these other platforms. Now, first of all, Notion is beyond where most owners are. It's like sort of like a low code, no code database. It's a way to organize all your files, and you can do, you know, you can build a CRM in it, you can build an action item list, you can build project files. We've used it before.
Hmm.
And like that, so first of all, that's like beyond where most people are.
Where most
And
people
then
are now.
they're adding AI in so that you can like basically tell the AI how to change the Notion. Well, I don't even want the Notion. Notion is like trapping my data in something blind because then I'm
Mhm.
subject to whatever AI access they allow me to have. And if they don't adopt the newest model, if they choose this over that because they did some deal, then my data is all screwed and I can't use it. So like even those things that are going to get delivered on a silver platter are going to have limitations. And that's why, I'm trying to build OwnerRx to be, a neutral, you can take your data and get out, right? If you need to. And your data is your data, right? It's got to be that way. And the way I'm using Claude Code or you can use Codex or anything, it's really I can take Claude Code out tomorrow, plug in another coding agent, and it can run the same stuff. I don't need Claude. It just happens to
Mhm.
be better right now for my purpose. Um,
And this has
so
all
that's
happened so
another,
quickly. This has happened so. I
yeah,
mean, when did you start
happened
using
really
Cloudflare?
quickly.
Like 2 months
Uh,
ago?
yeah, like a month and a half ago. And
Right,
it's already like we use it every day. I use it every day.
yeah,
That's all I work on now, basically.
yeah.
And so I guess my thing is also like my message is not, so in a way I get it, right? People are busy, they got businesses to run, they can't spend all this time learning this stuff.
It sounds overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. And I'm naturally inclined to like learn stuff and I have some time to do it. And I'm working on an AI startup, so that helps.
It all fits.
Right. And that's all true. And so it's not fair. But at the same time, someone else is using this stuff and they're going to come take you out. And I'm
Life
telling you,
isn't
it's not
fair. That's
fair.
like
I
life
don't,
isn't fair, but
right? Business isn't fair. Like
master your
they're coming,
circumstances,
they're
or
coming
they
for
shall
you.
master you.
They're coming for you. Like, and I was
Mhm.
just saying, like we are starting to, like, I did these metal fab investments up in Boston.
Mm.
And, we're starting now to build, like, we're doing an automation for the purchase order system works, just using
Mhm.
N8N, which is a off-the-shelf tool. But I'm actually about to just build like a quoting system in Claude Code for them because all the systems suck. So, like, you know, I think what we'll be able, if we get that done, we're going to be like 10 times more efficient than any other metal fab in the
Mm.
country. I mean, like, how are you going to compete when I can bid like this and it takes you like 3 weeks,
Yeah,
right? So
most
that's just
metal
one
companies
example.
probably don't
Someone
have
like
that.
me, yeah, someone like me who's younger and will stay up at night and not fall asleep at 10 is going to come after you and take you out.
Yeah,
Someone's going to
just
come out and take out OwnerRx, right? I mean, I know that's so.
right.
It's not like I'm sitting up on the mountaintop saying I'm perfect and everybody else is screwed, but like this is coming. And like if you are sitting in an incumbent business where you have a lot of labor that's doing analysis, writing, and sort of repetitive tasks, which is basically everybody,
Old
like
school.
someone is gonna come
Hmm.
with a bunch of agents they build in Claude Code and do all that stuff and charge, first they're going to charge 50% less and do more. And how are you going to compete?
Yeah, that's
So
tough.
that's my message is like, it's not fair. And I'm increasingly pessimistic about current companies' ability to survive the onslaught.
Mm.
And I just see it like in all sorts. The bigger the company, the worse it is.
Yeah.
It's just like the sclerotic nature of like all these people. And it's like, well, this isn't my job. This isn't blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, I just want to walk into businesses and be like, I'm gonna build 2 months, I'm going to build all this stuff and then just fire everybody. It's like,
Mhm.
give me a break. This is a joke because someone else is coming down the road and it's going to do that. So if you're trapped in that world where everybody's telling you that, you've got to figure out a way out. Like it is coming for you. And it's just like when people were not building websites and not getting online, and except the investment level is way higher than it was.
Right.
Like the amount of compute that's getting built right now is insane. And so the people who are using that compute and AI are going to come at you. And like, think about it. If you were running a retail business and, like go drive around to every like mall in this country that is like half dead and has been converted or knocked down.
All dead.
That's coming. That's coming,
Yeah.
right? And we've been through stuff like this before. It's just been a long time since there was such a big shift. It's been
Yeah.
20, 25 years. And I don't think there's going to be this respite either where maybe there will. I mean, who knows? I'm not a macroeconomist again. But like after the initial internet wave, there was this like kind of lull when
Mhm.
the bubble popped and most of those companies went out of business and Amazon almost went bankrupt, and it took like a good 5 years before that, social came and we had the next wave up where basically everything that everyone predicted in the late 90s happened.
Right.
And I don't think we're going to have that 5 year respite in between. So I don't think you have that time. Because I think
Mhm.
there's just too many people, even if the bubble stops now, there's too much power in the tools for someone not to use them. Right now, I could take out most industries.
Yeah.
If I'm, I mean, I say I cannot because I'm old and I'm lazy and I'm not going to go do
And
it
you go to bed at
for all
9.
these things. I go to bed at 9:30, 10, depending on how many shows we're watching. But some kid, who's like 30, 25, 30 is going to do it, and they're going to do it
Mhm.
right to you. And it's going to take, it depends on the industry and how ambitious people are. But like, if I were like, also, there's this big search community out there of all these guys trying to buy businesses. And I'm like, guys, start learning the tools now because that's your competitive advantage. You come in and take over these companies, you buy them for 3 to 4 times, 5 times EBITDA, and then you
Yeah.
cut out, half the labor, and then you can start buying the other businesses and putting them on top of your machine. That's going to become the PE play. And so I think, to be honest, some of it's going to be, now that I think about it and kind of talk it out, I think some of it's going to be like disruptors from Silicon Valley, but that's really going to be in the big, broad industries that, like marketing agencies, maybe, because that's a big, broad category they can see. But like, if you're in some kind of like nichier industry, I think it's going to be a PE play where like a searcher or a PE fund basically has a set of tools. They've got some people that know how to use that, and they just come in and consolidate industries because they can
So
buy companies at a certain level and then cut out labor.
are those the disruptors specifically that
Yeah,
you're
those will be
those
the
ones in
disruptors.
those?
That's who's going to win. I think that the incumbents are going to just get taken out. So
Mm.
again, my message now is I don't think the incumbents are going to adopt and survive. So, or very few of them. And the ones that get on OwnerRx will have a better shot. But I do think I'm probably hedging my bets to like try to be part of the solution for current incumbents with OwnerRx and then go invest on the other side in the disruption because I think that's going to drive a lot of this.
Mm. Mhm.
So I come with a message of fear.
Listen to this message of fear, but
Yeah, I'm sorry to say it, but I do see
hope,
it.
but
I just
hope,
think
optimism. Like there's something you can do about it.
there is something you can do about it, but I
So
think that it's a different scale than what people have been. People are like, oh, I can go, even teaching my cohort course, I'm giving people exposure and valuable tools, but they have to take those tools and go keep working on them and drive them through the business.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
that's
part I
not
don't
easy,
think is
of
going to
course.
happen.
But
So like I'm like, well, instead of running this AI course again, why don't I just go like buy a company and drive this change?
hmm,
That's better. That'll work better. Or like, why don't I just work with the metal fab guys, build like a system that can run a metal fab way better than anybody else, and just start buying metal fabs, right? And
hmm.
that's better than me trying to teach a bunch of owners how to do something that they don't want to do. And it's a little bit like it's great that, I would say the course is valuable in the sense of like they get exposure, they now know what the potential tools are. We build some stuff that gives them an idea of that's useful, and then they could see how they could do more of it.
Yeah, at least what
But
they're
I
up against.
guarantee
Right?
you 80% of them will just go back to doing what they're doing, or they'll have like a GPT that they use once a week and feel good about it. And then
Yeah.
and then someone with their 35 agents coordinated through the Google ADK is going to come in and duplicate their company with 3 people where they have 25.
Wipe them out.
And as Greg Crabtree says, I was just at a mastermind with him, guy who wrote Simple Numbers. He's a hero of mine. Um, he's like, look, all extraordinary profits. This is not a direct quote. This is a
Paraphrase.
paraphrase. Thank you. Save me there. Is technology getting leverage on labor?
Mm-hmm.
That's what technology is, and that's where extraordinary profits come from. And then eventually, everybody learns how to leverage the technology to get leverage on labor, right? So it's
Okay.
like, hey, I came up with an abacus, or I came up with a counting machine, and that could make the productive labor of my clerks, 100% more, right? And then everybody
Mm-hmm.
gets an abacus and a counting machine. So, and then they compete away the profits. So there's this window where no one knows how to use the technology or exactly where it's going. And you can earn for the next 5 years, you can earn extraordinary profits just by
Mm.
taking out industries. And I think that that's going to be the story we start hearing next year, or in the next year maybe. I mean, who knows? I'm not great at predicting these things, but I think
That's
I've already
fun.
heard it anecdotally about PE looking at this, and then I think you're going to start really seeing a lot of it sometime next year, where people are like documenting what's being done, and
Mm.
it's going to become like a snowball that picks up because other people are going to start imitating it. And so if my message is anything to any owner out there right now, it's it's coming. The nichier your industry, the more protected you are, right? If you're in healthcare, education, um, government, you've got well, government just got destroyed, but by other forces. You've got more time. And if you're in
Hmm.
a super niche industry, um,
Less
you
so.
know, it'll take longer. But I don't know. I'm about to do it in metal fabs. So like that's pretty niche. That's weird.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
it'll happen, but it might take a couple more years. If I were a marketing agency, fuck, I'd be like, oh my God, like this is done. This is done. Like next year it's gonna be done. And so like if you haven't changed I believe me, I've had 3 different marketing agencies I've worked with from a vendor standpoint. And in each one, I'm like, this model doesn't work. It's too expensive. Like what you're producing isn't valuable enough. Like it's not going to work, And I can like build an agent that does does 90% of what you do. And there's like a little bit of human judgment in there, which is great. And like if I could pay you, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, I might do that, but I'm not going to pay you five, right?
Right.
To do something that my agents can do on their own, right? So I think that one's
That's pretty
done.
so. That's hard. Yeah, that's hard for the marketing agents.
Yeah. And not for the agents, for the marketing agencies. The agents
Agency.
are having fun.
Yes,
They're
yes, no, of
all in their
course.
markdown files, getting ready to
Yeah.
do stuff.
Yes, and then
So
agency.
yeah, so I think if you're an owner in that world, I mean, I would basically figure out how to get somebody else to run your company for a month and just go like learn how to Claude code, learn how to just go do all the stuff I've been doing and like go find anything you can find
Mm.
to figure out. And then you're just going to have to come up with a strategy and be ruthless. It is not going to be fun. It's like, I got to go in. I mean, think about what PE companies do, right? Some
Mhm.
some a-hole who went to Tuck business school comes in and he's like, all right, this whole department, they're gone, right? And we're going to put in this little, agent. I mean, that's awful. No one wants to do that, but I mean, I think that's what
No.
it requires. And I guess my message is either you do it or it's going to get done to you. It's basically
Yeah,
what
I
I mean.
mean, some of it, as you said, sounds a little ugly, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's coming, right? And if I were a young person, I would be, how do I get experience implementing AI tools at companies? Because within a year, everyone's going to be desperate to figure out how to use any tool they can to survive because they're going to have all these people coming at them.
And that's a year. Like you're predicting a year. I mean, a year is nothing,
Yeah. Now, I'm predicting a year in
especially
sort
with
of
old
these
people.
broad industries, right? Like marketing
Mhm.
agencies, like the low-hanging fruit customers,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you're again, like if you're in a niche industry, it's going to depend on who really comes in and how aggressive they are and how much money they got behind them. But like, I think by the end of next year, you're going to start hearing about it more, and then all these people are going to pile into the PE play of doing this. And so within 2 to 3 to 4 years, it's going to be like a bloodbath out there, and mostly the opportunity to do it is going to dry up because what's going to happen is I can go into marketing agency or whatever company and I can produce the same, you know, profit and level of service at
Mhm.
25, 50% of the price, right? So then I know I can add, um, if I'm paying a million, if I'm paying like 4 times EBITDA, I know I can basically cut the staff, put in the agents, and I've now paid 1 or 2 times EBITDA, right? Because I'm getting
Mhm.
more EBITDA. And then quickly, though, that margin is going to get competed away as everyone is the same playbook. They're going to be like, oh, now I'll pay 5 times, now I'll pay 6 times. Now, and so that'll compete over the next 3 to 5 years. The PE play will get the extraordinary profits of it will get competed away. Um, and but I also think there's a strong, just thinking about it, it's like there will be that PE play, right?
Mhm.
But I think there's a strong possibility that these disruptors come in with like almost no staff and just take it over. Like even the PE play doesn't make sense in some cases because they still have the infrastructure of the company and they have to go and adjust everything and change the contracts, and they probably aren't experts in marketing and technology.
The
So they're
disruptors.
well, the PE disruptors, I think they're going to be even
Mhm.
slower. But then you think about some kid with 1 year or 2 years of marketing experience who really knows the tools, they can just go in and just wipe the whole industry out, right? I mean, they could be like, all right, so you PE guy are going to go in and you're going to take your $5,000. So the first play they're going to do is they're going to say, I'm going to take your $5,000 a month retainer that you deliver at 2,500 or 2,000, and I'm going to deliver it for 500 or 1,000. So now I'm going to make the rest of the margin, right? That's going to be the first play, and they're not going to reduce prices. Then there's going to be competition, and they're going to start bringing down prices.
Okay.
But I see these kids like if you worked in a marketing agency for 2 years and you really knew the AI tools, what do you need the marketing agency for? Just go build it all and then go take out their clients and charge $500.
And this
And
is
then the PE
like
guys
in
are
his
going to be
early
screwed
20s.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the PE company is going to end up buying all this stuff and then have it be worthless in the end. So I think that could definitely happen in a lot of industries. Yeah, I mean, that won't happen, like metal fab, it won't happen in metal fab because you can't, the AI can't do everything, right?
It's metal
It
fab.
can't make metal, right? So, but that's going to go robotics, right? So that
Yeah.
play is going to be a little more CapEx heavy because everything's going to go to 24-hour robotics, um, making everything. So,
Mm.
but if I were a young person, I would really be like, let me learn all these tools. Let me spend, read like 10 blogs about whatever industry you're in AI. There's a ton of them out there. Read every .2, read Nate B. Jones on Substack,
Hmm.
read Ethan Mollick, and then there's a bunch of specialty ones, and like use the tools, build them, use them with clients, and then just go out on your own. I mean, I don't see, or be that person that can come into an agency and like do it all for them. That's the key right now, is becoming the person that works with AI tools and knows how to implement them.
So
That's
have
the
you
huge
talked to my
value. And you don't need to
son?
be technical. Yeah, no, and
This
he
is what
doesn't
you
need to be
need to do.
technical.
Who's, graduating from high school. Like, think about this.
Yeah, because I think what's happening
Hmm.
is like, my take was, my realization came when everyone was saying that the programmers are all gonna go away. And I was like, no, everyone's gonna become a programmer.
Hmm.
So I just heard the good analogy was scribes in the Middle Ages who copied books, right? Or like copied contracts or took, notes. They were highly paid technicians because no one knew how to read and write.
Right.
And then we got literate and we got printing and we got all these other things, and then everybody became a scribe, right? So now everybody's a
Mm-hmm.
scribe.
That's a
And
good analogy.
right. And so now we don't need this, like what I call the priestly caste of programmers to create things. Now, clearly that's limited in scope. I have developers right now, and there's the tools are not where they need to be for full scale uh, secure apps that's can scale to thousands of people, users.
Hmm.
But they will be.
Hmm.
And at that point, everybody with an idea and an opinion can just go out and sell whatever. So it's a great democratization
I
of
was going to say
business.
that it's democracy right there.
But democracy is disruptive, right?
It
And
is.
we are going to have a, I don't, I'm still, I'm like, am I being too conservative? That's what's in my head. Like, even though
Mhm.
I'm pushing hard saying like this is going to wipe people out, I'm thinking I might be too conservative. Like, this could radically alter the way that business is run. Like, think about the so the other analogy for me is right before this call we were talking about some drone article we were
Yeah.
reading about in the
Warfare
Ukraine
in
war.
Ukraine. Hmm.
Yeah, and how like at this point on the Ukraine frontier on both sides, they're like pods of like 1 to 2 people
Hmm.
spaced out across the front lines. Because anytime they concentrate more than a couple of people, some drone comes in and blows them up.
Yeah.
So that completely changed warfare, right? Like, I think the same thing's going to happen to business, and I don't even know what it's going to look like. It's like when somebody can build a stack of tools easily to compete with the smartest people in the world with the most resources, that changes the game, right? So all your infrastructure of your business, it's actually like somewhat of a, I mean, the people and the systems you have right now are almost liabilities in the future
And
because you
with
have to
those,
get rid
yeah,
of them.
and with those tools that you could wipe out. I mean, the war analogies are apt.
Like, all your tanks and fighter jets and
Hmm.
all this stuff is useless because I just got this drone that can blow it up for
Yeah, a
a
light,
thousand bucks.
simple. Hmm.
That's sort of what I'm like. Am I being too conservative in the sense of like even the PE play doesn't make any sense in the end because they're still buying the same infrastructure and bullshit, right? That everybody else is, that these disruptors, the drones, are just going to get rid of. So like now that I don't think is happening next year. That's more of a long term
Hmm.
look at it, but it does kind of feel like that to me. And I was listening to like a guy last night who runs they have some kind of chips that it's called Grok with a Q, not the AI company from Elon. And they do, I'm not 100% sure even what they do, but somehow they're selling chips that give people compute for AI that isn't NVIDIA. And I don't know why they use them. Maybe they're like lower performing, but they're cheaper or something like that. So anyway,
Okay.
he didn't really talk about what their product does. He was talking about AI in general. And basically, he said that every time they plan, even their most optimistic scenario is nowhere close to what the demand is in the end.
Really?
So they're doing, because they're building chips, they have to do these multi-year plans. And like he had a customer come in yesterday and asked to buy 5 times their current production, all production for all customers. And he's like,
Mm.
I had to say, no, I mean, um, it's like, and what he was saying is that the compute for the models, meaning just like, having enough servers to actually, when you type in stuff to ChatGPT to process it, he's like, that's constraining the capabilities of the model. Like you could have a model that's like 5 times worse, and if it has 10 times more compute than another, it's a better model because it
Hmm.
can process more, right? Even if it's less efficient at processing.
Right,
And
right.
so what he's saying is like just right now, the technology is not maximized because we just don't have enough compute. And he said
Mm.
that essentially, in his view, now this guy's obviously talking his book. He's selling chips for compute, so take that grain of salt, right? But he was like,
Mhm.
essentially, it's unlimited. No matter what we build, it will get used because there's
No
just
matter
more
what.
value. Because the model gets better and it can do more things and it can produce more economically
Mm.
efficient
Hmm.
things. And so when you hear somebody say that, now, okay, we go back to the 2000 bubble, and I lived through it, right? You lived through it. And it was like people
I
said
did.
stuff like that, but there was all this dark fiber everywhere, right? So they
Mm.
were like, oh,
Hmm.
let's build all this fiber. And so for high speed internet. And then nobody got high speed internet until like 5 years later, right?
Yeah, there was a lag there.
So they overbuilt and the whole thing collapsed.
Mm.
And as Mark Andreessen has pointed out, the venture capitalist, almost every business that collapsed became a business after all the fiber lit up and everybody had broadband. So like Pets.com went down and Chewy is now a big business, right?
Mhm.
So Webvan went down and now Instacart and everybody else is delivering groceries to your doorstep. So it was really just like a connection issue. And the reality is now there's no dark fiber, right? Like
Mm.
all the compute is maxed. So if you showed me tons of
Now it's max.
capacity, yeah. Now you could
Now.
say all these deals that you hear about, like no one's going to absorb that compute in the future. Okay, maybe. But like I still haven't seen dark fiber.
Mm.
And it was very clear. Well, I haven't gone back and researched it again, but at the time, my impression was everyone knew there was all this fiber that wasn't getting used.
Hmm.
And it was when that realization happened that the whole thing collapsed. So like I guess that's my question is like if the compute just gets getting used by people taking on incumbent companies and incumbent companies trying to defend themselves, blah blah blah. Like I don't think it's going to be a bubble. I don't think you're going to have that 5 year hiatus where you got the time to adjust to the world. So that's sort of my overall take is like it's coming, it's
And that's just, yeah.
accelerating. The more general your business is, the faster it's coming. The more it's based on human analysis, writing, the faster it's going to happen to you. The niche you are, the more regulated you are, the more time you have, but you don't have that much. And if you are someone who works at a company who like learns how to use these tools, I think you should just go out and like take out the industry. And the PE is going to try to do
I
this.
love that. Just take them out. That's the
That's right.
message
That's what's happening. And
of this
and then
episode.
my frustration with people's adoption should be clear. Like I'm like, you guys are going to be toast
Don't be
because
an idiot.
I just don't get it. You need
Mhm.
to go figure out if you own a marketing agency right now and you are not using AI in every single aspect of your business all day long and spending half your time figuring out what tools are coming out, you are doing it wrong. And you need to go figure out how to have somebody else do that BS that doesn't matter anymore. So you can spend the time figuring this out. And don't hire Dan from, whatever college to do it for you. Because you know what Dan's going to do? He's going to come and steal your business. So you better figure it out, right? You need to know it. And there is no other choice. There is no option B. Option
I
B
mean,
is going
that's
out of
it.
business. Yeah. So I have a very different message today for people because I think it finally clicked in my head that it's just going to happen to people mostly. And
I
there's
mean,
going to be that
were you
10%
thinking
who
it
just,
wasn't? I mean, are you just what has
I thought
changed in
that there
that?
was a
I've heard you
way to
say
like,
saying this.
well, I think even in like the .com thing, because of that pause and the tools coming in the way they did, a lot of people made the transition to
Mm.
like, oh, now I have a website. Now I'm conducting commerce over I mean, a lot of people got wiped out, no question. But it wasn't as
There was a lot
fundamental.
did make the
I
transition.
think
Yeah.
this is going to just happen faster. And like that time to adjust isn't going to be there. I mean, I just see like what happens when okay, so first I see this PE thing happening, right? Where PE
Hmm.
drives a playbook around, bringing in AI tools and taking out cost. They start competing each other down over time, and then I see VC plays or maybe VC PE hybrid plays where a very small team with a set of tools stops trying to sell the tools to the reluctant owners who don't want to buy anything and just start the
Just
companies.
takes.
That's my fun. I guess at the end, that's my fundamental message is like, I'm starting to think it's not the business play is not trying to sell people the tools. It's using them to take over their industries. That's where the
Listen, I
connection is.
mean that. Yeah, that's a statement.
Yeah. And while I'm developing a tool to help owners adopt AI. But like, so maybe I should just change my business. But no, I think OwnerRx like will help a certain group of people who are really willing to buckle down and do it. But I think that's going to be
Yeah.
a small minority of people, and the rest are just going to get taken out with it. So
Well, on that
it'll be
note,
the owners using OwnerRx who will take you out, right?
mhm.
Who use it on the other hand, on the other side. Um,
May not be easy to
so
hear, but it's true.
yeah,
This
like I
is the
think people are
most
going to be
true.
pissed off at me for this, but I can't not tell you what I think is true.
Don't shoot the
That's
messenger.
don't shoot the messenger, right? You're going to look back and be like, God, Joe's,
God,
he was
he's
so
right.
right. He's always
Jeez.
right. Well, I'm not always
No.
right. So take it, if you want to bet on that, go for it. But I mean, what if I told you you're swamped today, right? And you don't have time to adopt tools or figure them out, or you don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest reality, right? For a lot of people that may end up hating you after listening to
So
this. It's like
so what
they want to, but they
OwnerRx
can't.
the goal of OwnerRx is to have you stop being swamped. So you run your
Mm.
company in a professional way based on best practices, right? So that you have the time to figure out what to do. And
Yep.
it'll have part of what I'm building out now based on this is like, what do I have to do to actually adopt AI for real?
Mhm.
Not just like play around with it. Um, Playtime's over. And so it's going to be a tool to help you do that as well. Um, but like, if you're sitting there overwhelmed and you don't have time and you don't have inclination, then I'm saying you're roadkill. So you better figure it out. That's the message. There isn't
Listen.
any other option.
Yeah. Listen to the message.
Yeah. Cool. Well, on that dark note,
Dark but empowering.
dark but
Empowering.
empowering, yes. Dark but empowering. Go move to Spain. Sell all your stuff. Move to Spain. They're going to regulate it and keep it away from you. So you'll
Right.
be able to
It'll
live out
just
the
be
rest of your
easier,
life.
simpler.
Yeah. And you get to have, wine at lunch and stuff. But if you're here, you got to
Listen to
listen.
the message.
All right. Till next time.
You've been listening to OwnerRx with Alan Pentz. Want to apply what you just learned? Try our AI business advisor at OwnerRx.com. It has all the insights and lessons from this podcast, plus hundreds of playbooks, ready to solve your specific business challenges. OwnerRx. Stop being the bottleneck. Start being the owner.